Okay, picking up from where we left off last time, we create our index page, which would display each individual form. We turn those forms into links that will go to our form.php page through their ID. So if we click this link, right now we're just echoing out the ID. So let's get started. First, let's go back into our PHP MyAdmin and into our form post table. I forgot to include a form ID column or row to our database to designate along with the form name which ID that corresponds to the post, the form ID that corresponds to the post. So you can go ahead and add that table in there now. You can see as I did here. Alright, so let's go into Dreamweaver. Let's go into our form page. Let's get rid of this. And let's get started. Let's get the page ID. So we gotta check to see if it's set. So let's do if it's set, get ID, and let's also check to see if it's numeric. So we can do is numeric get ID, and if all that's true, we're going to go ahead and store that into the variable ID. Okay, and for those who don't know, the isNumeric function just checks if the ID is nothing but numbers. If it's a letter, it's going to return false. So what this does, if this isn't set and it get ID isn't a number, it's going to return false. And if it returns false, we do else. For the sake of the tutorial, we'll do error. If it die, we just kill the page for now. Maybe you'll want to put in like a header 401, display some message or whatever. But just for this tutorial, I'm just going to kill the page. Alright, so we got to perform, we got to check to see if the ID is a valid ID. We want to make sure there's a form that has that ID. And even though this page is going to display a form post, we don't want to, check the form post table to see if the ID is there, because there might not be a post there yet. So we can go ahead and just do like this. Call this ID check equals DB query select everything from form table where form ID equals ID. Alright, so we'll run that query, and then we can do something like this. If ID check num rows does not equal 1, because we know there's only going to be one row for each forum that corresponds to that certain ID. Do die error. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and check that. Let's save. Come in here. Close that. Go back. Click. We shouldn't see anything. Good. So let's just check to see if we do no ID. Error. And let's say if we do ID equals 1, let's see, just do B, or if we can do B in a number, not working. Alright, so we know our simple page validation works. Let's go back into here. Alright, so now we gotta go ahead and get all the threads that belong to this form ID. So let's go ahead and just create a query here. Call this SQL equals, let's do select. Let's select everything from forum post where forum ID equals ID and type equals O. Now if you remember, we set the type to be O or R. O being original, R being reply. So we only want to see the originals. We don't want to see the replies on here. We just want to see the originals. So we can go ahead and do. Actually, you know what? We want. Let's make this better. Post ID. Post. Did I do a title or did I do it as name? I think it's name. No, it's title. Alright, and then we can do, we're going to do this with a prepared statement. So we can go here, and let's go if query equals db prepared SQL. Alright, so let's do query define the params. Do pass in one string, which will be ID. We can do, actually let's find result, call this post ID post title. Okay, then we do query execute query store result. Alright, and for now that's all we're going to need to do right up in the top. So let's go here and we can do Actually, you know what? Let's go right up here, right? Since we're already querying the database up here, the form table, let's do this. Do row equals ID check. And if let's do object, fetch object. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and do that, right? Let's come down here in the title. And let's do echo row so we can be able to display the form name in our title. Okay, so let's go ahead and come down here. And again, I'm just going to use a very simple table to display this. I know there's some, I could do it with divs and stuff like that, but just for the sake of time. So let's come down here. We're going to do if statement, do if, let's say like if query num rows equals, let's say doesn't equal 0. We can do PHP and then let's do the end if here. Let's go. Okay, I'm getting one too many. You know what? We can do this. PHP while. So if it doesn't equal 0, we're gonna do while query equals fetch. And if you remember in the earlier tutorial, when working with prepared statements, when you do the fetch, this just goes ahead and frees up these, it creates and frees these variables to be used that correspond to what we're fetching from the database. So we can do like fetch and while. So let's do a row I'm going to do echo post title just to see if it works. Alright, and let's do this. PHP else so if it doesn't equal, well, if it does equal 0, we can do no post found. Alright, save that. Hit refresh. Line 35, you got an error. I figured out what I did wrong. There was no need for an S on that. Refresh. Alright, I figured out what went wrong. I spelled that wrong. And also, let's go ahead and come up here and do else echo db error. This part will only run if there's something wrong with your query. So if this fails, this will run. So let's go save, refresh. So we've got to do another thing. Well, we live and you learn. There we go. Alright, now after all that time, we finally got our posts to display, or our threads. So let's go ahead and create these as links, and then we're going to go ahead and create a new page called View Thread, which will display each individual post. And let's see if if this isn't found in a database. Okay, everything works. Alright, so let's go ahead and come down here. We can go like this. A href view post.php. We can do the PID, which will be our post ID. So we can do PHP echo post ID, and then we can do and ID equals ID. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this. Let's make this look a little bit better. We can just do something like this. Go Alright, so let's go ahead and create this page. We can just left click, new file. View post.php. And then we can just do copy and paste. And then we can let's get rid of this. Alright, and we'll do our usual check, get, or echo, get PID, just to make sure. And then we can do get ID. Make sure everything's working out fine. Well, it's 1 and 1, not 11, but alright. So we're going to go ahead and leave off right here for now. The next part, we're going to go ahead and display our post, and then we're going to go ahead and then after that work on our member login, or I might just go ahead and do that off camera. Alright, so if you found this at all helpful, go ahead and leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that now, and see you next time.